Morning all. Okay, enricizqui. Alright, how's he doing recently? Had a couple of losses or something. Losses, okay. KingsCrusher, that's always good fun. Okay, I'll take care. So I'm playing for maybe C4 and D4, trying to get an advantage here. So C4 here. And C6 D4, I think I'm just trying to get a fair share of the centre, just grabbing as much centre as possible. Whoa! What is this? Takes knight G4, D4. That's a bit adventurous. There's knight E4, knight E4, D4, G3, takes. King F2, that's a bit unclear. If we have a look at that. Takes knight E4, threatening Queen H4 and Bishop F2. So D4, Queen H4, G3, takes. I assume here takes the rook. And in that position, I don't know, I think I'm going to go for it. Looks fun. Any improvement there? King F2 and Bishop G2 on the cards. I'm getting a big centre. So I don't think King E2's an improvement, is it? Although possibly Queen F2, King D3, Queen D4. No, I think G3 is forced. So he takes the rook? No. He doesn't take the rook. Right, so King E2 runs into Bishop G4. King D2? Are they King D2? Am I getting smashed? I think that's the only move. Hang on. King E2, Bishop G4, definitely. Got my king to that knight E2 of Bishop D4. Queen E3 looks scary. And Queen F3 just to stop Queen E3's. Actually that's good for Bishop G1 attacking the Queen. It takes. Queen F3 looks good. Anything stronger? There's Rook H3 and there's Queen G1. I think Queen F3's winning the vote here. Queen G5. King C2 attacks the Queen. I think Queen F3. So strangely he didn't go for the rook. I don't know what's going on now. Is this defending? Okay, it's Rook H5 as a forcing move. Is that useful? Just Bishop D3 will rule out Bishop F5s. Bishop D3, there's no Bishop G1, that's not that useful. It stops him castling actually, because of H7. No Bishop G4. Queen takes, Queen E3, King C2. I think Bishop D3 looks fairly safe. There's also a threat of Queen. Oh, hang on, Queen E2 doesn't just get the queens off Queen E2. How does he avoid exchange of queens? Just Queen E2 here. There's no major check. C3, E3, or F4 is all ruled out. I think Queen E2 just a piece up. Actually, when I say a piece up, is it really a piece up? Yes, I've won 2 pawns in the night. Piece up for 2 pawns. Okay. Also, I've got an h-file as compensation. If he castles, I just take knight f3. He could want to play bishop f4. Ah, king c2. That's a bit dangerous because bishop f5 check. I will take the queens off here anyway. Actually, there's no bishop f5 check, so I'll play here. Just on h7, developing. Okay. Attacking again. With tempo. Okay, if he wants the rooks off, I mean the bishops off. Otherwise, knight c3. Okay. Temporarily, I don't know, it doesn't matter, I think. Just take with the king or rook here. So I just want to get my rooks back. Knight d2 maybe. So rook g1 to g2. That's the piece up really. Keep a knight on d4. Just to make sure no nasty. Bishop f5. And b4 is also further simplification. Is it better to control the e-file? Just rook e1 to e7 rather than go for the g-file. Can't see difficulties now in this position. Okay, I'll play this. If he wants an exchange of rooks, I'll go for further simplification. Okay. Does want to exchange of rooks? Fine. Okay, he's got 3 passed pawns over there, but c5, c6 will give me a passed pawn. And I'll go for c7 to try and get this c pawn winning the game here. Okay, I think c5, c6 is a plan. Take. Wants problems immediately for that pawn. And this knight can usefully blockade these pawns. So knight b5 will be forking 2 pawns. Knights are on dark squares at the moment against the light square bishop. Okay. Now what's better? There's knight e6 as well. c6 might be a problem. So is it better just to maybe it is getting tricky. c6, get the king to c5. Let's see where this bishop goes. Don't want to get rid of too many pawns. Okay. So I don't know. These pawns are winning. Just b5 takes and that one runs. Get these pawns going. a4, b5 takes, a5. How does he stop with that bishop with the pawn there? a5, bishop c8. Okay. Can't need the blockade square. King can come to f2 here. What is knight f5? And if ever h5, h4, I don't know. Okay, there's various ways of doing this. just a4 if g3 knight f3 with b5 on the cards is dangerous. King e3 if I want to use the king. Bishop can come to f1, king f4, h5, and the pawns are stopped in their tracks. After that a4, b5 he takes a5. Now is that bishop's going to be annoying. Okay. Knight f5, there's bishop f1 anyway. Okay, so I could start using the king here. Use the king's blockade. Don't want to run out of pawns here. I think king f2 would cover f1, so a4, b5 would be more effective, and this g3 takes bishop f1. Once time b5 comes, there takes c7, end of game. Oh, his king's coming in, okay, to the rescue. So I'll cover this f1. It's possible I might be messing this up. If his king comes to d6, oh it didn't. Now knight e2 before, king g3, knight f4. Let's get these pawns going. I can actually cover f1 with king g1, letting this pawn come more dangerous. If that's the case, how does he get back? Interesting. Also there's knight e6, just to try and use that pawn. Stops king g5, stops f4. I take the pawn and I come back. That's quite a dangerous pawn. I think I might go for that one. So I just take there, and I could take here actually, and just these two pawns I just sack a knight if needed. Just winning c7 is interesting. I'll win a6 after, then c7. Okay. Right. Danger level. If I just knight d5, I take and then knight d5 just in case I need it, or knight a6. He's always got g3 now, so I don't know. It should be trivial. Knight a6, g3, king f3. My knight's protecting g2. There's no bishop g4. I think this should be trivial. Knight a6. So there's b5, b6, as well as c7. c7 he can cover with g3 though, dual purpose, getting his pawns down. But okay, so c7 here to force a reaction. His bishop's blocked in by the king, so I think c7 first. Putting pressure on now for b6 next. Okay, I don't think there's bishop g4. There's bishop f1. I can take on f4, bishop f1. With g2 I take, and then maybe just, I don't know, win this pawn, or okay, he plays g2 here, I think. b6, oh, okay, on b6 there's king c6. Right, I can take here, g2, take bishop g2. I think b6 first to get the king kind of working more. And then there's King C6 A5. Okay, what about now just knight C5 H4 A5? Is that easier way? I think knight C5 and I just munch F4, take on G2, and it's kind of on dark squares. The king can't come out, and dark squares everything against bishop. So I think that's the way. I just sack the. What about just A5, A6, A7 as an idea? Okay. Have I got time for that? 1, 2, 3, 4. So he has to do something really clever over here. Has bishop G4 facilitated from his last move? Okay, so if I take on F4 now, G2, I take bishop G2, king G5. He holds onto that pawn. I play A5. When I play for A6, he would take. Otherwise, tries to protect that. Is it time to take these two pawns? Or A5, A6, A7. Okay, A5, H4, A6, H3, A7 is winning. So A5, H4, A6, he takes, H3. Well, I just take on F2, H3, king G3. I think this is putting position on too much pressure. Just A6 for A7. Or is it? Is he actually? H3 is pretty dangerous actually. So takes. H3. Can I mate with a knight? Knight D3. H2 is queening. Great. H2 there. F3 is covering it. It's a king blockade. I get this position after king G2. Actually, it's got G2, king F2, G2, king F2. That covers it. So knight C5. Where do I want the knight? I want it to get to E7 to play check. How do I get it to E7? So B4 to D5. It's a bit scary with these pawns. This is funny. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh. Knight D5 and knight E7 needed. So if G2, F3, knight D5, I think I'm going to be saved with knight E7. Oh dear, 4 minutes 15. It's resigned there. Oh, blimey. That was getting a bit intense with these pawns. G2, if I take, there's H2 embarrassingly winning. So king F2. I think that's hopeless. He's just faced with two move threat. Knight D5 to E7. Let's have a quick look. So what do you take here? Knight F3. That's okay for me. The centre, a good compensation with the exchange. So he's a piece down. I thought that was the end of the story. Then he had 3 connected pass pawns. I did notice that, and they were kind of getting significant. And the C pawn, I think the most worrying was when his king could come to D6. King coming over there, not so bad issue when he knows pawns. Okay, his king does help, and my king helps. He's giving up the bishop here for this position with these 3 pawns. But the king's very clever in blocking the pawns here potentially. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks so much.